first generation of Fight Camp revolutionized the at-home boxing game by allowing you to track your punches and your output in real time and see your long-term progress. And after years of learning, research, and feedback, we went back to the drawing board to bring you, drum roll please, the new Fight Camp Experience console. With this upgraded experience, you can now access the next level of Fight Camp. Starting with partner workouts. No need for just one person, you can now have another person work out with you, and our console does hold up to 4 trackers. An updated round-by-round scoring and punch goals, plus celebrations of new achievements to keep you motivated. A new look and feel on your live screen. You also will have simplified streaming, an easy step-by-step setup for a seamless experience. The console itself is also a charging dock, so you never have to worry about losing your trackers or them dying. As soon as you're done, stick them on it and you're good to go. Connect directly through an Ethernet cable if needed. And it's optimized for multiple accounts. In summary, if you like the first generation of Fight Camp, then you are going to love the new Fight Camp experience. So if you want more information, make sure you go to joinfightcamp.com to upgrade your experience today. This is Fight Camp, an interactive training camp from the comfort of your own home. Tutorials and guided paths walk you step by step through the basics and sharpen your technique over time. Punch tracking technology and leaderboards provide you built-in motivation to help you hit your goals. Learn more at fightcamp.com.
The brain to perfect the body.
He has opened doors for others. He fights the fight for us.
My number one constituents can't vote for me because they're students, they're in the classroom. So my fight is taking it to the State House and making sure all the dollars that we contribute to our tax base is coming back to the city of Brockton. When people talk about Brockton, they're not thinking negative, they're thinking positive. Once you invest into your youth, you're gonna have a rich community.
seen in sight. Now you know, you already know you are gonna cry at night. Hunger from the pain inside. No, you know you're not the type just to cry. In the pain, I already know a cry. Better stay, but I know it testified. But a rain Now you know I'm just a vibe.
Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip. I don't need that shit cause I got my own now. I ain't home, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything I'ma have to bring the whole city out. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip. I don't need that shit cause I got my own now. I ain't home, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
Hi, my name is Karen. I'm a mother just like you, and my son rides a motorcycle. So please check twice, save a life. Motorcycles are everywhere.
For more information on sharing the road, visit mass.gov/RMV.
Master Yoda I am. And listen you must to hulazoom.com.
The movie, music, news, television promos, trailers and videos used in this production are protected by the Fair Use Act. Section 107 of the Copyright Act. 1. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. 4. The effect of the use upon the potential market for, or value of, the copyrighted work.
A message from the Lincoln Project to the Democratic Party. Stop. Stop looking backward.
We got whooped.
Stop with the endless focus groups. Stop with the self-doubt. This isn't complicated. Only 1 out of 4 voters think we're heading in the right direction. Inflation is out of control. Gas is headed to $6 a gallon. Donald Trump is the most corrupt president in history. Republicans don't care. They're good with Trump taking your tax dollars to pay off cop beaters. The Justice Department operates like mob lawyers. The Epstein files? Not one prosecution. It's a joke. AI threatens every middle-class job and is turning billionaires into trillionaires. And Democrats are asking how to win? At the Lincoln Project, we don't have an identity crisis. We're here to beat the crap out of MAGA and save the country we love. You want to win? Attack, attack, attack. We do it better than anybody. If you're tired of playing games, join the fighters. Support the Lincoln Project. Let's get this done.
Because I've had enough.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
This is blasphemy. This is madness. This is a boom.
Broadcasting from the City of Champions, Brockton, Massachusetts, with your host, Keith Sinister One Hayes.
All right, it's your boy Sinister One broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth. It is Happy First Friday, July 7th, flying through the year. Hope everybody had a great, safe 4th of July. What is your podcast doing We're here. We're live. It's First Tuesday. Let me get into my sponsors and supporters. Michael Douglas Barreto, MDB Electronics. If you have to get your controller fixed and you're back to gaming 24, 48 hours, Michael Douglas Barreto Electronics. My artist, Viana Marie. Her music is out there everywhere. 494,000 streams. Tactical Target Systems. When you go to the range, those life-size zombie targets that you see me with, tacticaltargetsystems.com is where you go to get them. Don Robinson asked for him, a retired LAPD officer. I Love Boston Sports t-shirts, Marlon Williams, black-owned business down there at South Shore Plaza. Ladies, if you want to take some photos that you never thought you'd take, reach out to Kimberly Ann, Empowerment Photography. A lot of people in the chat. I'll get to the people in the chat in a second. Underwatch Protective Services, Mobile Patrol, Armed Guards, any type of security, reach out to my man, Daryl Smith, black-owned business. And then before we get into the news booth, I got to say thanks to everybody in the chat, fully loaded. Monkey Wrench Wellness, Renee White, Kevin Jeffries, Travis Partington. All you guys are all in the chat tonight. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's First Tuesdays. I got my guys, Ken Diesel, R-Squared. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Tonight's going to be Ken's turn. For the past month, there's been a lot of things going on government-wise. The floor has been held down by Rob on First Tuesdays, but tonight I'm going to kind of turn it over to Ken, but then I'm closing it out with Rob. I've got something really special, and I want to get it kind of off the cuff and let him speak right from the heart. But in the news booth, in our first story here in Brockton, if you guys remember the CFO for Brockton, Aldo Petrino, who was tied up in this school budget scandal. He is suing the Brockton school system. Well, he's suing the city of Brockton, but Fall River has just hired him to be their chief financial officer down there. So Fall River has hired Brockton former CFO Aldo Petrino. And I'm just going to leave that at that in the Brockton news. Also in the entertainment booth, if you guys haven't seen it yet, myself and Travis Partington did a Neo Sabers Mando Pro unboxing, episode 1. Check that out in the entertainment booth. And then let's get into the sports booth and talk with these guys real quick. FIFA, 2.7 billion viewers for the Friday night game, Cabo Verde against Argentina. I want to talk with these guys a little bit about the global impact of FIFA. When I first talked about World Cup coming here, I was worried. I was nervous because not many people here are soccer fans in America. A lot of people are ignorant to the sport, and I told people, hey, this is bigger than what you realize. I saw people talking junk about soccer at the Olympics, but I got to say something, and I got to applaud U.S. fans for giving World Cup FIFA a chance to watch, to learn the sport, and to finally to see people on Facebook saying, hey, I was kind of wrong about this sport, and really liking the reason why some people call this the beautiful game. And what really kind of sucks about this is that we were having some beautiful moments with World Cup. And of course, until someone with an ego got involved and ruined the sport of what we were growing to love, and people, and I felt like, can't Donald Trump just keep his effing mouth shut and out of... Oscar, you talked about it. You mentioned it perfect. I mean, he got involved with this whole USA thing, and you put a post up, and it was dead on. And in karma, USA now gets their butts handed to them. And I'm going to let Rob speak on this, because I've been so happy at the fact that FIFA was, you know, the Scots came here, the people from Norway came here, they drank the taps dry in Boston at Sam Adams. Great, nothing but great stories, R-Squared. And then we get this black eye of a friggin' story to attach to this, what has been a great World Cup experience for America.
Well, keep in mind a few things. First of all, let's not let President Trump or anybody else, you know, anybody with the microphone ruin what's been a very positive experience. The United States has done a good job, and of course, we share with Canada and Mexico But we've done a great job with this tournament overall. There have been a few hiccups. Obviously, the Iranian team has some complaints that they filed. Some of that may be true. Who knows? I'm not worried about that. It's been incredible. There have been some amazing games, some upsets, some a little bit of something for everybody in this tournament so far. And what's really been nice about it is, there are all kinds of conceptions about the American people out there. Some of it is based on our government, some of it is based on American tourists or whatever. And there were people who were very skeptical about coming here. And this is the thing that I think is the real story of the tournament so far, is the warm reception of the American people to all the millions of fans that have come here to see their teams. The Tartan Army in Boston, the Norwegian team, not just people who live in the United States, but real tourists who have come here spending thousands of dollars to fly here, to stay in hotels. I mean, we talked about on the show how expensive it is to go to a game. The train tickets, the hotel have been, quadrupled, if not more than that. And yet they've come here and they've all left saying how warm and friendly the American people have been to them. That to me is the real story about this. And I'm real happy to hear that. I'm not surprised. I think that's the real America for the most part. We have our issues. But this is what we were hoping to see, and this is what FIFA was hoping to see when they made this arrangement. So that to me is the more important of the stories. Now, let's get to what you asked me about. Oh, by the way, in full disclosure, I went to watch one of the games downtown in Boston at one of the fan centers with the Tartan Army, and it was a hell of a good time.
Oh, really? Guys, So did they really drink? Did they really drink like they said they drank?
Oh, I could keep up with those guys, but the problem was the beer sucked. But at the particular place, I won't give the name of it on the air, but it was a lot of fun. And it really made it fun to watch the games, because if I was sitting at home, I would watch some games, but I watched more because I was out in public having a good time with people. And for the most part, people were friendly and well behaved. Obviously, there are a few people who drink to excess and, they think that's an excuse to be stupid. Ken will be the first one to tell you none of his clients successfully raised the I'm drunk defense. So, it doesn't work. Okay, let me answer the question. I apologize. You asked me a straight up question. So the whole problem with President Trump and FIFA started way before the tournament did. You may remember that Trump has, non-soccer related dealings with the head of FIFA, right? One of his billionaire oligarch buddies. And so there was already something going on between them. I'm not saying that's why the United States got the games. That was decided well before Trump was president. But I will say that you may remember the FIFA Peace Prize. I think we had fun with that on the show, right?
Yes, we did.
And so, they made it up. It's not even close to real. It's clearly a joke, not by the president of FIFA, who was doing it, for his buddy Donnie. But the fact is, the rest of the entire world was laughing at it, that this guy is so sick in the head, Trump, that he accepted the FIFA Peace Prize. I mean, just, that set the tone for his involvement. So when Flo Balogun was suspended, yes, that was a bad call. There were some bad calls. That's going to happen in a tournament. Things move quickly. They're trying to look at who kicked who and tripped, and it's not always easy in real time. Just same when you play football, it's not always easy in real time. And so it's gone well. But obviously it was an American player. It was a critical player. It was going to be something, did we have a chance to beat Belgium without him? Probably. Well, we didn't have a chance to beat them with him. So, but the point was that because of this relationship that Trump has, he could easily just pick up the phone and do that. Now, the last time a leader did that on behalf of their team was 35 years ago. This is not something that is done. It is not something that's appropriate. And of course, front and center, classic Donald Trump, right? That he could just pick up the phone. This is what he thinks he can do. This is what he buys. This is what he sells as access. And so, yes, it put a black eye on this thing. But I don't think, look, the United States, we got our butts kicked. So it didn't matter, right? In the end, I think it was kind of funny the way the Belgian team was lampooning him. It was a little embarrassing, quite frankly, as an American to see that happen. It wouldn't have happened to any other president, but he did it to himself. And so I'm going to choose to reflect on this tournament. It's not over yet. We've got plenty of soccer left. But I'm going to reflect on this tournament for the positives. And yes, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous, the Trump piece of it, but I'm not going to let it ruin what's otherwise been a pretty good tournament. Sorry for going on.
Monkey Wrench Wellness in the chat says, Daddy can call to get you out the penalty box, but that doesn't mean a win. Ken, your thoughts? Because I know you and I have always talked soccer for a long time, being on the booth and on the Mark show. So I know, your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I'm eating a lot of crow on this one because I was one of those people who thought that bringing the World Cup to the United States was the dumbest idea in the universe. I didn't think we had the facilities. I didn't think we had the fan support. I thought Americans were going to be obnoxious. And let me tell you, I'm eating crow on everything. The facilities have been great. The games have been great. I've been hearing from a number of people who are been in the host cities how they've rolled out the red carpet. People are telling them that we really expected a different type of reaction, but the American fans have been great. The American public has been great. The prices are being gouged, but I actually talked to one Brazilian guy who I ran into in a market I go to. He's a dual citizen, Brazilian American. I've known him for a couple of years. His family's from Palo Alto, and he was laughing at me. He says, "You Americans, you don't know how to price gouge. You need to come to Brazil. We'll show you how to price gouge." And he was laughing about it. He thought the prices,
awesome.
yes, they were high, but he didn't think they were all that crazy. He really liked the fact that, like he said, there's a huge Brazilian community in Massachusetts. You may not know that.
Oh, there is. Oh, yeah, we know about it.
And he's actually his wife. He married an American citizen. She's from New York City, and there's a huge Brazilian community in New York City. They went down there for the activity, and they're just going all crazy. But he said it's just been great. He says, other people have been incredibly nice. He says the main thing is these little kids. He goes, all these American kids, they're adopting foreign countries because they want to watch them win. He thinks it's great. I've watched some. I haven't been to none of the events live, but I have watched a couple of matches on TV, especially the Cape Verdeans who have come out of no place.
Right. Yeah.
Playing everybody's clock. I didn't have the Cape Verdeans on my bingo card. Maybe you and Rob did, because you're smart.
Yes, because they won. They won legitimately. They won that whole region. They earned their way here. They weren't.
They are just coming out of no place.
So yeah, they're supposed to do well.
There was a great game between the Egyptians and the Argentinians. I don't know if you saw that game. Mm-hmm. I didn't see. I just saw the highlights. But again, the match has been fantastic. Everyone around here has been fantastic. There's been no major incidences of violence, which I think is great. Donald Trump being Donald Trump. I mean, he's a meme factory. Everybody is just having some fun with that. Look, the United States team was not going to beat Belgium. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a patriotic American, but let's face facts. The Belgian team was on fire. They had a great game. I think it was a little closer than the score shows. The Americans, they had some good offense and they were playing some good defense. They made Belgium work for their goals. There's no question about that. Our keeper was really good. It just not your day. Some days just not your day, and this wasn't it. So hats off to everybody who has been involved in any way of the hosting, especially the bars and restaurants in the major cities. They've managed to keep it very exciting, very lively, but under control. Hats off to our first responders, our police, who have managed to keep everybody under control without interfering. God bless you all. And God bless, all of our visitors who have come from foreign nations to come and celebrate the FIFA World Cup. I think you guys have been adding so much color, especially Norwegians. I absolutely love the Norwegians. They came in with their row thing. I don't know if you saw the video of the Norwegians on the escalator doing their
when they did the rowing at Boston Stadium, that was just amazing. Right. That was just incredible.
It's just great, and it's a shame it has to end, but it's going to end, and upcoming. But we're in the round of 16 now.
Thursday, it ends here. Thursday's
again,
the last game.
My hat's off to the USA organizing committee who worked very well with the Canadians and the Mexicans to make this thing flawless. Sir, you have my apologies, and the next time these three countries want to host, I'll keep my goddamn mouth shut.
Yeah, Jacob Tagger's in the chat. He said Africa had 9 teams make the knockout rounds. That's a huge accomplishment. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, not just only Cape Verde. You had Ghana. You had all these other teams, making their first time. So and the games have been so good. The games have been good. So July 9th, that's the last Gillette game for the World Cup, and it's a pretty big game. It's France against Morocco. That's going to be a pretty good game. The crowd should be pretty big there. But I'm expecting France to take that game in the quarterfinals. Like I said again, I gotta applaud. Yeah, I gotta applaud everybody for as much as I love soccer, I was expecting people to crap on this and everything. And look, everybody loved the sport. I'm right now, to be honest, I'm almost tempted to go down to Cape Verde and see what's down there for property for sale, because I hate to say this, but if you go down there and buy property right now, if you can get down there and buy some property on the waterfront, you're going to make a ton of money, because Cape Verde is about to be a huge travel destination now that everybody knows where it's at, what's there, what they offer. That place is about to become a serious travel destination. If you go there and buy some property now and turn it into a resort, you're going to make your money back within the next 5 years. So if anybody out there is watching and thinking about going down there, Jacob Tagger, let's go down there and check out some property and get a little Airbnb resort going or something. It's coming, because they're saying, this is, and it's not just here. Foxborough's name was mentioned all over the place. Even if 1% of the people who visited here comes back to Foxborough, that was a win. 1% is a win as far as tourism goes. I saw a story where a young girl who works as a server down at Patriot Place, she said she's made more during these FIFA games at Patriot Place than she's probably made in 2 years, tip-wise. That's insane.
Oh, yeah. The Patriot Place restaurants, they're making money hand over fist. They can't take the money in fast enough. A couple of reasons. Number one, they're growing in the ethnic populations, and they have the big screen TVs. And two, it's a place where you can, you can drink, you can go shopping, you can do all the things in that area. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised they're making money hand over fist.
Yeah. I mean, Kraft changed the game. When Kraft built that whole facility the way he did it, he opened up a lot for the NFL and the other owners, because he was the first to do that. At first, everybody's like,
I don't know. Are there trains that they're running down there? I don't know if they're special trains.
They extended the track, and the commuter rail now runs directly into Gillette Stadium. There is a lot going down there. He's got a hospital down there, so if players get hurt,
he's got the hospital. He's got the
go
MRI
right to the hospital. Yep. They've got all these businesses there, and he changed it for a lot of NFL owners have now, with these new stadiums, they've taken in what Kraft has done. And that's one of the things that, Kraft doesn't get the credit for. The ownership probably gives him the credit behind closed doors, but I don't think people give the credit that they should give him as an owner. So again, thank you everybody. I'm glad everybody's loving these World Cup games. But hey, I'm just letting people know you haven't seen nothing yet. We're only in the quarterfinals. When we get into the finals, oh man, it's about to be real crazy. So let's get into the legal booth. In the legal booth, today's top story for the city of Brockton: Massachusetts State Police are now seeking assault and battery charges against Mayor Rodrigues after the harassment has been dropped. That 10-day was in effect, and then they went to court on the 16th. They went on the court, and they dropped that whole harassment case against him. But now it looks like there is an assault and battery charge on this. A lot of people are saying this is so they can go ahead and file a civil suit. I myself, I got to hear what's going to be presented. If what was presented during this harassment case that was not allowed to be extended. I don't know how much they're going to get out of this assault and battery charges. And I'm not sure, Ken, if you've heard any scuttlebutt behind the scenes regarding this, because this just dropped today. And I know a lot of people are kind of hands off and seeing. Jacob Tagger says, my sources are telling me there are more potential female students that will come forward. See, and I don't want to touch that because this story is involving minors. And when people start saying rumors about minors, I'm kind of hands off. I see a lot of people out here saying a lot of things, but you're talking about people's kids. So I don't know, Ken, if you've heard any scuttlebutt.
Well, a couple of things. If I can. You talk about three different things here. One, you're talking about a harassment prevention order. Two, you're talking about a civil case, and three, you're talking about a criminal case. All of them have different standards. For the harassment case, one of the things that no one is concentrating on, you need three separate and distinct actions in order to qualify for a harassment prevention order.
Yep.
Okay? Which is different from an assault and battery. We only need one action. And the third thing is the civil case. The criminal case, as everyone knows, is proof beyond reasonable doubt. A civil case is merely preponderance of the evidence. So it's very easy. So you could get a civil judgment even if the person is found not guilty. So I think you're talking about three different things.
So when when that harassment order wasn't extended because there wasn't the three things there, then they were probably told to file this assault and battery for the one.
Yes, they may have. I don't know because I wasn't there and I don't want to comment on it. Most of the time, there's supposed to be Chinese walls between the civil side and the harassment side. That's what you're supposed to. I don't know. I wasn't in the room and I don't want to accuse people of malfeasance because using a criminal case to increase your chances of recovery on the civil side is unethical and in some cases illegal. But so I don't want to accuse anyone of malfeasance because I don't have the facts. Now, are harassment cases, criminal cases, and civil cases all filed together? Yes, happens all the time. And there could be legitimate reasons to do that. I don't know because I haven't been behind the scenes. But those are the three things that you should be aware of.
And I see some people in the chat asking some questions because Mayor Rodrigues was seen in a unmarked police vehicle during the curfew. Jacob Tagger is asking, can an elected official operate a police vehicle? Now, I looked this up, and it says that some mayors, when elected, some mayors are actually sworn in during the swearing, are allowed the opportunity to take police vehicles or use police vehicles during such as a curfew. I think each city and town is different on that, Ken, right? Correct?
Yes, absolutely. Again, I mean, there are general rules that public officials can't use government-owned property for private reasons. That's the general in Massachusetts. If you remember a couple years ago, our lieutenant governor got into trouble because she used a helicopter to fly back to North Adams.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. That's a violation of state ethics rules. Each individual town will have rules about when government officials can use police vehicles. I'll give you an example. In Melrose, because we had this, it was a bit of a scandal a couple of years ago. Our mayor, who I happen to know very well, a guy named Paul Broder, great guy, he supposedly the allegation was that the police vehicle was being used to escort his mother to her medical appointments, which was illegal under the city charter. And what came out was, no, what happened was she was having a medical emergency and Paul, the mayor, was there in the police vehicle and he just told her to take her to the hospital, which is permissible because that's the police vehicle being used for emergency purpose to bring someone to a hospital, which is legal under the Melrose Charter. But that's the kind of thing you gotta go check in with the town. They have their own rules and regulations about when and how government vehicles or police vehicles can be used.
Yeah, so I saw that. So hopefully, Jacob, that answers your question. So again, people, as we saw, there are assault and battery charges now that have been laid against Mayor Rodrigues by the Mass State Police. This is one count. The story that the Enterprise dropped
Okay,
in the
hold,
Fox and
I hate
everybody.
to be pedantic. The Mass
ahead.
Police doesn't take out charges. What they do is they apply to the district court clerk magistrate for a complaint, and then the clerk magistrate of the Brockton District Court issues the complaint. The state police can't take out charges on their own. All they can do is apply to have charges taken out, and the clerk magistrate, which is Mr. Creedon, makes the decision.
And for those who are watching the show, Ken Diesel is a mass defense attorney, immigration attorney, family law. He actually had his offices here on Main Street in Brockton for many, many years until they closed that building down to renovate it. That's the building across from Brockton Beer Company that they're renovating right now. That's where his office is.
They're turning my old office into condos, by the way.
Yep, into condos.
If you want to buy a condo, you can buy my old office on the 4th floor if you want a condo when they finish it.
Jacob Tagger says the perception of the mayor's actions is damaging either way. The one pet peeve that I have about this thing with the mayor right now is that the mayor's seat in Brockton is only 2 years. When you elect the mayor to get stuff done. But unfortunately, because we have all this legal crap and stuff going on, this first year is down the toilet already. And then heading into his second year where he would be, trying to run for re-election, unfortunately, this legal stuff is going to carry him into the second year. Michelle Henson says, thank you for this information. She was looking for contact information. Ken Diesel, can you give contact information?
Sure. If she wants to call me, she called me on my business cell, which is 617-519-5216. Number again is 617-519-5226. Or you can email me at kmdlaw@ymail.com. Y is in Yahoo. Mail.com.
All right,
Just
cool.
Andy is my name.
Michelle Henson, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Like I said, I got the floor for Ken a little bit tonight, and then we're going to close out. I got Rob coming in on this one too, this next topic. So in this next topic, Jacob Tagger says he's been on the council for over a decade before being elected mayor and was appointed the mayor for a time. Yet when Carpenter passed, he was the interim mayor for that little bit of time. So yes, he does have that time. So we'll get back more into this. I gotta see what's gonna happen when the next court date is. Also in this legal booth, this is for Ken and it's gonna be for Rob if he wants to chime in on this. So here's the story, people. Department of Homeland Security. There's a story out there that the Department of Homeland Security has put out there and is using and weaponizing for this whole argument of illegal aliens. I'm probably going to piss Ken off, and I've paid a lot of attention to Ken over the years. And this is how this goes. So Massachusetts resident Michael Bond is a truck driver, CDL truck driver, who got his license through the very program that we advertised on this show, the Emerge program, which would allow those who were incarcerated to be able to get a CDL license because there is a shortage of CDL licensed drivers. There's a huge shortage nationwide. So they're trying to do everything they can to give people licenses jobs. Michael Bond is now involved with killing a Pennsylvania state trooper. And the DHS is now using this as a way to weaponize this fight against illegal aliens. Now, here's where I've done my homework and I've listened to Ken over the years and paid attention. Michael Bond came to this country. He was a Haitian immigrant, a parolee. He came to this country in the USA in 2024. He came to Massachusetts in 2025. He was still under his TSP, which is the temporary, what is that, Ken?
It's TPS. It stands for
Temporary Protection
Protected Status.
Yes, temporary protected status. So he was under that status. He was trying to get his life straight. He's applied, and then he was denied for whatever reason. He was denied by the DHS the status. Once he was denied, he has to get an attorney, and that attorney now has to fight for him to say why he should be allowed into this country. He had an attorney. He started this process. of trying to extend and get this extension of the TPS, even though it was denied and he was told to head back to his country. Now, everybody's saying he was told to go back. He should have went back. Ken, can you explain? You don't have to go back if you
Okay. There's a couple
correct?
there's a couple of issues that we're dealing with. If you apply for TPS relief, it's what its official term. There is a presumption that if your country is on the list, you will get it.
Which Haiti was.
Which Haiti was up until Trump's
June 25th. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll get to that part. We'll get to that part.
If for whatever reason you're denied or it's revoked, there's an appellate process that you have to go through. Until that appellate process is exhausted, you still remain what we call TPS status.
See?
You have TPS until there's a final decision or until you surrender your appeal rights. Now, there's a very sharp timing, very strict timing on which to file an appeal. It's 12 days, by the way, not 30. Most people think it's 30. No, it's 12 days. And it's 12 calendar days, not 12 business days. And I'll get into that if you really want to know the distinction between the two. But as long as he filed an appeal, which is relatively easy, it's an I-290B, and paid the fee, you have to pay an appellate fee, until the Board of Immigration Appeals or the Administrative Appellate Office, it depends on who's going to handle it based on factors that aren't important in this conversation. You still have that right you will still enjoy the rights and the protections of TPS. If you lose, you can always appeal it to whatever circuit court of appeals you're in. We're in the First Circuit, and if you lose there, you can actually appeal to the Supreme Court. Now, until you've exhausted your appellate remedies, and as long as TPS is still extended to your country, you have a legal right to remain here and to work to get your what we call your EAD or Employment Authorization Document. Now, I don't know. Are people accusing him of missing his appellate deadline? Is that the accusation?
Nope. So here's what happened. He had just hit the 18-month mark with his TPS, and he was denied and was told to head back. He then got an attorney.
He was probably denied an extension. He probably
he was denied the extension.
An extension, which we can do a whole show on denial of extensions because he can't deny an extension.
Exactly. So here's what happens now. So
unless he's convicted of a aggravated felony, which is another issue.
Right.
Which I won't
so now he's denied that extension. He gets an attorney and does exactly what you said. He's doing this now. He's showing that, hey, I'm a CDL driver. I'm changing my life. I'm trying to better my life. I'm trying to become a citizen. But then on June 25th, Trump and SCOTUS decides, hey, Haitians and Syrians are no longer protected, and that's wiped off the map. And I know this from
hold on a second. Let me stop right there. So SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, did say Trump has the right to terminate TPS status. However, Trump actually hasn't done it yet. This is what's surprising everybody. He hasn't issued in order to terminate, there's a procedure to do it. You can't just, and he hasn't done it yet. What he has to do is he has got to inform the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security to inform the Director of USCIS to remove Haiti from the list, and they haven't done it yet. There's a procedure. There's an administrative procedure. They haven't done it yet. So
this is the weaponization of the story, because DHS put this story out there, and now they're labeling Michael Bond as this illegal alien who killed this state trooper. Now here's the other part.
Okay. I tried to hold it.
I know you hate that word, Ken. I know you hate it.
There is no such thing as an illegal alien.
I know.
Because immigration law is civil, not criminal. But even if you are using that term, he was properly inspected and he applied for and was granted status.
Yes, he was.
If that status is revoked, he still got his appellate rights, and while he got his appellate rights, he can remain here. And I
knew there was so what has happened now is they've weaponized this story, calling him an illegal alien. And here's the sad part about this: nobody out here is reading the story or clicking the story. The driver of this truck, Michael Bond from Brockton, He had a medical event. He passed out while driving his truck. The state trooper who was killed, and it's a tragedy and it's sad, and we're not taking anything away from the death of this trooper, but there were some questions in regards to the trooper's actions. The trooper was conducting a DOT inspection on another truck. He was under the wheels of the truck checking the brakes. Some state troopers were saying, hey, he shouldn't have even been on the right side of that truck checking the brakes. He should have had that truck go to a DOT pull-off and then perform the inspection there safely. So that's first part of the problem. Michael Bond had a medical event, passed out, his truck veered off the road, struck the back of the truck that the state trooper was inspecting. That truck went forward, smashed into his cruiser, and then he came out from underneath, and then Michael Bond's truck struck the trooper between his car and his truck. It's sad. It's a tragic story. But the fact that the DHS is using this story and weaponizing it, as we've seen over and over again, because now they're saying he's an illegal alien. He got his license illegally in Massachusetts. Maura Healey should hang for this state trooper's death. And it's like, okay, this was a program that was out there because of the shortage of CDL drivers. Why do we get away with this? And Rob, you can chime in. I'm really tired of the weaponization of stories such as this. This is crazy.
Well, the reason we're getting away with it is we have an administration who doesn't care about the facts, doesn't care about the law. And frankly, we've got a media out there that is so cowed by the threats that they're going to pull their licenses or they're going to block the mergers they want. And that's the problem. The problem is we've got a mainstream media or a legacy media that typically is scared to take on the orange wonder. I would disagree with you a bit, if I may say that. There are a number of organizations that are calling Trump out. These are independent media organizations. There are independent bloggers. There's groups like who I belong to, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, who are constantly calling him out. Mm-hmm. So it has been pushed back. And as for that, I'd also like to point out that if, again, I'm not familiar with all the details of this case. If what you're saying is true, the way it happened factually, the worst he could be charged with is manslaughter.
He was charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah, it sounds like
it. Until his medical and physicals come back from the DOT. That's
right.
What I'm going to say.
Because murder requires premeditation and intent. And Rob can check me on this. So you can't, involuntary manslaughter, that sounds like an appropriate charge because it doesn't, involuntary manslaughter, if he knew he had a medical condition, they can make the argument he should have been driving. If he knew he had this medical condition that could cause him to pass out, he shouldn't have been driving, and that would qualify as involuntary manslaughter.
And most of your trucks have cameras now. All your transportation trucks and everything have cameras, so they're going to know. Anything you want to add to this, Rob, this whole thing about this weaponization of these types of stories?
No, I mean, this is what they've been doing all along. They take any one incident they could find, because when you can show one fact or one thing that happened, then people are willing to believe the rest of the story, the Paul Harvey. And the fact of the matter is that they lie. And most people don't get to read about that because they're not reading or watching those particular news items. They're looking at things that are more important to their daily lives. And so there really is no accountability. Congress isn't doing it. The courts are sort of doing it, but not really, because the cases have to come before them. And so they get away with it because, Ken said a good job there with, the media is too afraid to do what it's supposed to do. And what have you. So I don't really have much to add. I think Carl Reiner got a home run on that one.
Carl Reiner. I don't even think this can get this. Mike Slade, thanks for chiming in. Mike Slade is in here. Tanya Pickett is in here. She's supposed to be getting on this show. Mike Slade's actually been on this show before, so make sure to check him out on the rant. A lot of people in the chat, thank you for tuning in. Tanya Pickett was actually getting twisted up on July 4th. My dad is watching. My dad, William Hayes, is watching. Everybody acknowledge my dad. Happy Father's Day a couple of weeks ago.
Hi, Mr. Hayes.
I'm about to cry. When your dad pops up in the chat, Oh man, I'm almost tearful right now when you see your dad pop up in the chat.
Well, your dad probably knows Carl Reiner.
Oh my God. My dad's in the chat. William Hayes is in the chat. So everybody say hi to my dad, or I'm going to be mad. But let's continue on here because we're at 8:41. So this thing about the TPS being eliminated for Haitians and Syrians, and then on this whole SCOTUS ruling as a whole, Stephen Miller, who we all know Rob's not a fan of at all, Stephen Miller is being interviewed on Fox about the SCOTUS ruling on birthright citizenship, and then turns around and makes this comment. This decision is a deep knife wound in the heart of the American public. And then he goes on to say the most craziest thing, that maybe America should start looking at women coming into this country who are 8 or 9 months pregnant, and we might have to stop allowing them to come. And I know Ken's going to go berserk, but I'm going to let Rob speak on it. Women should not be allowed in this country at 8 or 9 months pregnant. That way they can't have their kids here and get the birthright citizenship. He was saying that we may now have to pass this. I know Ken wants to. I'm going to let you speak on that one first, Rob, because I know you're not a fan of Stephen Miller at all.
No, I'm not going to talk about Stephen Miller. I mean, his own family despises him, so that's all we need to know about that. But no, they do. I mean, they disowned him.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that, there's not this long line of women who are 8 or 9 months pregnant waiting to get into the United States, hoping to have their babies here. There are some, each year there's a certain number. I couldn't give you the actual number, but it's low. All right. So if Stephen Miller and the Trump administration, were somehow to get something changed on that rule, it's not going to make a difference in the number of people we have, the number of citizens born here. That's not the problem. That's just something colorful that they can play with because it'll get people's attention. It's the shiny ball that people will go look at. That's not the issue with immigration. We've got bigger challenges. We need to fix our immigration system. We've talked about it a lot on the show. This is not the big issue. Could they tighten it up? Sure. But, that's different. Now, obviously, I'm not an expert on pregnancy, but I know that, and certainly it's more of an issue between a patient and doctor. But, the further you are in your pregnancy, you're not really supposed to be doing international travel. It's not safe. And so I'm not really sure how many 8 or 9 month pregnant women are coming to the United States.
Ken,
I'm not going to waste any more time on Stephen Miller.
No, Ken.
Okay. Let's start out with a couple of things.
Hold on, everybody. I just got to let you guys know, everybody, once again, Ken is an immigration attorney. He's a career immigration attorney. So I just want to let y'all know he ain't talking off his cuff around his couch.
I happen to know
keyboard warriors
because my sister-in-law was 8 months pregnant with my youngest nephew, and there was a big debate about whether she could fly to Colorado to visit her mother-in-law, and her OBGYN had made a recommendation, the general rule of thumb, although each case is different, that women in their third trimester should not get onto an airplane as a general safety rule. First and second is fine. Third trimester is not. So that's just a general thing. Okay, let me try to explain to you. There's something called the 14th Amendment, for those of you who don't know what it is. And what that says is that everyone is entitled to equal protection, whether they are a citizen of the United States or not. To stop women coming in from the United States simply because they're in a certain medical condition is violative of the 14th Amendment. Morons. May I strongly suggest for any of you keyboard warriors, get out there and say, we need to stop, a pregnant woman coming in the board, or 9 months pregnant coming giving birth, should check out the 14th Amendment. Number one, and Rob raised this point, number two, very well. The amount of women who come here who are pregnant and give birth intentionally is an incredibly small number. There are a number of women who give birth because they have premature babies, or want their kid to be an anchor baby. Yes, they do exist, but they're incredibly small. most women who are not U.S. citizens who give birth had been here for a substantial period of time, and they were here prior to them getting pregnant. Okay? I've had numerous clients who have children that were born abroad and born in the United States. And they weren't pregnant when they came here, you stupid morons. Okay? This is this, again, as Rob pointed out, I believe called the shiny ball to get everyone's attention. Rob is absolutely right. Our immigration system is broken. We've been arguing about this on the show many times before. And frankly, before any of you keyboard warriors get out and start telling me that, lecturing me on immigration, understand something. I've got 30 years of immigration law. I have a JD and an LLM. And if you don't know what an LLM is, maybe you should call a lawyer and ask. It's a master's of law, by the way. And for any of you out there, may I strongly suggest you read Title 8 of the U.S. Code, which is with the Immigration Nationality Act, because none of you know what the hell you're talking about, because, oh, by the way, within Title 8 clearly delineates how we can keep certain people with certain diseases from coming to the United States. There is a standard for it. Number one, it must be a debilitating disease. Pregnancy is not a debilitating disease. Number two, it can be or is contagious. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And number three, you got to prove it will cause serious health ramifications for the individual. This is how we kept a lot of people with AIDS out of the country. Because we thought AIDS was contagious by, shaking hands. That actually changed. We found out more about AIDS later on, but that's an issue for another day.
So I gotta ask Carl a quick question here. So how many of Trump's children are anchor babies?
Oh, I am glad you asked that question, because I know the answer to that question.
I know you do, counsel.
They're actually, all four of them can technically be deemed to be anchor babies, depending on how you read the statute. Because if you remember, both it's Ivanka, it's 3, 4. Yes, 4 out of his 5. Marla Maples was a U.S. citizen, but Ivanka, what was his first name?
Ivana.
She was an LPR, a lawful permanent resident or green card holder, before she became a U.S. citizen, which is the proper procedure. She gave birth to Don Jr. and the other brilliant twit while she was an LPR and before she became a U.S. citizen. There is certain law that says a person who is an LPR is, for the purposes of birthright citizenship, is deemed to be a U.S. citizen. There's certain people who argue against that. I think it's not relevant. So also those three, Ivanka, Don Jr., and Eric, are all anchor babies. So is Barron, by the way. So
Ivanka knew what she was doing.
Yeah. So, and oh, by the way, I think she should get her citizenship revoked because she lied on her visa application, and that's an issue for another day. Wow. She came here on EB1, and we call them the genius. I actually process EB1s, and usually those are reserved for people at the top of their game, usually academics who are tenured and doing research, although you can have certain artists and other individuals coming over under EB1, not supermodels, by the way.
I gotta make sure, because I'm at my mark where I want to give Rob his time. So before we get out of this topic, the reason for me why I feel like Stephen Miller is so scared is because his whiteness is threatened by these immigrants coming into here to this country and having babies and making his whiteness more of the minority. And if you don't think white fear is something out there, it is, because when we get into Trump troubles, the very first topic of Trump troubles this July 4th, the Patriot Front, who also has that KKK emblem, marched in July 4th festivities this weekend in Washington, D.C., and it's funny how you can have all these MAGA people all upset about masks, yet now you can go out as a racist group and wear masks and glasses and cover up in 100-degree weather and march to show your hate. And for me, I found this to be an absolute disgusting thing to do on July 4th, right up there with Trump. And I don't even want to mention the post he put up about the Obamas on Air Force One with. So here's what I want to do with the last 10 minutes of this show. This weekend was America 250. We celebrated America 250, the birthright of this country. In that upper left-hand corner is my guy, Robert Resnick, who was a U.S. Army colonel, JAG officer, put his life on the line for this country, served under people like Lloyd Austin. He's now retired. He's now teaching law enforcement about international law. And President Trump spoke at America 250. It was an absolute disgrace. I need to have a veteran. I need to have somebody to close out this show. I got to give a veteran his time to speak what America 250 means to him and what we need to do to get America back to where we need to be, speaking right from the heart. I'm going to turn this over to you, Rob.
I mean, what the 250th birthday of this nation is truly a special occasion. I mean, we've been gearing up for it, obviously, for a while. It's something that is coming. Obviously, I remember the bicentennial, 1976, and all of the activities. And, for a whole year leading up to that in school, we had special programming. And then there was a special bicentennial week before the end of the school year. There's a lot that goes on. And this was sort of a similar thing, 250, 200, milestone birthdays and what have you. The difference this time, obviously, in 1976, we had Watergate. We had tumultuous times with the Vietnam War and civil rights. And, it wasn't like it was an easy time in the United States. We had economic issues and oil embargoes. The 70s were a tough decade. And we came together to celebrate the bicentennial because our country was not at risk. We knew we were going to come out of that. The difference now, 50 years later, is we have this MAGA movement. And this MAGA movement doesn't believe in the Constitution. They like to talk about freedom. They like to use the word Constitution. But when you run around in costumes calling yourself a patriot fighting for freedom, you're neither. You're neither a patriot nor fighting for freedom. And so, you started this question with, yet another one of Trump's white supremacist groups that now feel so empowered that they could march, on July 4th in large numbers, intimidating all kinds of people throughout Washington, D.C. That never would have happened otherwise. That is pure MAGA. And so obviously not everybody in MAGA supports that, but they're tolerant of it. And that's the problem. And so when you say, what does it mean? How do we go forward? We have to go back. And obviously, people of all political persuasions and all political parties, can need to contribute to the solution here. But the fact of the matter is we need to go back to democracy first. It matters more about democracy. It matters more about the rule of law. It matters more about the future of this country, not about any one administration or any one policy. We used to talk, Ken will remember this, when we talk to new attorneys and about the importance of ethics, we tell people that everybody's going to make mistakes, but you don't make a mistake about integrity. Once you sacrifice your integrity, you don't get that back. When you make a mistake about integrity, you lose your career. You get fired. You get disbarred. We can all make mistakes. We have to own them and learn from them, but you do not sacrifice your integrity. And that's kind of the moral equivalent that we face right now with sort of as a nation, but really as this movement, people forgetting what the paramount importance needs to be. And so, for example, the Republican Party has to act first. They need to restore themselves as the traditional conservative party, the center-right party. And whether they want to be a big tent or a small tent party is up to them. But they need to go back to being the traditional conservative party. And we need that. The Democratic Party obviously needs to be a center-left party. And they need to go back to their tradition. They haven't strayed as far as the Republicans, but you never know. And so, when just because we're dealing with this from the right doesn't mean it can't happen from the left at some point. And so this is a lesson for everybody. In the spirit of the 250th birthday, it's everybody's business. It's everybody's priority. And so, the hateful, spiteful politics that we have has to stop. But more importantly, it has to be about caring about the future of this country. This is the first generation. Everybody always said that the thing about America, the American promise, is that each generation has the potential to be better than the generation before it. And this is the first generation that's not true. This generation doesn't necessarily feel the opportunity or the potential to do better than the one before it. And that's not our generation. That's the one younger than us, the three of us. And so I feel badly about that. It's not that every person can do better than their parents, because circumstances are different, abilities are different, opportunity is different. But people as a generation have had that opportunity, and they felt that there was a chance. They felt hopeful, positive about it. And we don't have that now. We have very negative feelings about the future of this country and the ability to, as we see, an oligarchic kleptocracy take over this country. And that's what it is. It's an oligarchic kleptocracy, or a kleptocratic oligarchy, whichever way you want to phrase it. Two very dangerous, un-American, undemocratic developments. Yes, there's always been money and power in politics, and we can argue about it. We can attack Citizens United as a decision. We can attack the influence of money and all of those things. Those are great debates. We've had them for decades, and we need to continue to do that. But we've never had a kleptocratic oligarchy in this country. That's what Russia has. That's Putin's Russia. That's what it is. And we don't want to be Putin's Russia. We're far better than that. Far better than that. And yet that's the direction that we've gone. And if you just look at the news every day, who is in the Trump administration? Not competent civil servants, not competent career professionals, oligarchs who are there just to be sycophants, just to say yes. They don't know what they're doing. And they're just part of the, oligarchy class. And they're stealing the country blind, the kleptocracy. We just saw that Trump made, what was it, $2.2 billion in his first year back in office. He's never made that much money in his lifetime, but he made $2.2 billion in his first year of his second term because he was stealing money. It's corruption. It's corruption. Insider trading gets people put in jail, or at least it used to. That type of self-dealing. The mine in Kazakhstan that he knew from his dealings with Putin and Kazakhstan and others that there was a deal going to be made. And so he told his sons to go buy the company. They buy the company. 2 weeks later, the deal is signed, and they made millions overnight. Nobody did that in the history of this country. No, we could talk about corruption in all kinds of administrations. We have never had something like this. This is what the threat to this country is. So we can have parades and fireworks. We can celebrate, and we should. There's a lot of goodness in the United States. We saw that when we talked about in the beginning of the show with the World Cup, the American people. There's a lot of goodness. We can defeat this enemy, but we have to have the will to do it. We can't say that racism is okay because we like the policies. No, no. If the extremism, the terrorism, the racism, the white nationalism, if that's the flavor, then we don't buy it. Find another way to get your policies through. Form another party. Have a new Republican Party. Form the conservative, well, there is a conservative party. Use that one. Don't let this continue. And Democrats don't relish this as a weakness because everybody has to fix this. And there have been some heroic Republicans recently that have tried. I give them credit. Too little, too late, maybe. I give them credit for at least trying, Senator Tillis and some of the others. But they're not effective because too many people won't do it. And that, to me, is the message. You asked me, how do we get out of this? We have to reject it writ large as a nation. I said this before. I talk to my Republican friends about this all the time. You can't vote Republican for the next year or two till the Republican Party fixes itself. And I would say the same thing to the Democrats if they go through a similar process. You have to do what's right. Get rid of this extremism. Get rid of this domestic terrorism. Go back to the traditional roots. Go back to support for democracy and the rule of law and normal government. And that's my answer to your question.
Wow. Damn. Everybody in the chat is applauding you, Rob. Rob, they respect it. Michelle Henson actually has a question for you, Rob. Rob and Ken are over at the Corridor. So if you guys want to check them out, go over to the Corridor on Facebook. Check them out. Rob writes a ton of stuff over there. His back is hurting people because he's carrying Ken, as I always say, on here on the Corridor. Rob, you're being asked a question. Michelle says, if you could recommend books detailing this madness, I'm interested in adding to my shelf. Do you have any books offhand that you think that you could?
I'll give that some thought and I'll post it.
Okay, so keep an eye out here, Michelle. He's gonna post it. I can't add anything to that. I'm not adding anything to that. Ken?
I am a little more hopeful than Rob. Not very much, but a little more. If I can give a small example from my own life. About 3 or 4 months ago, when the ice raids were going on, there was a request for assistance from the local chapter of ALA for lawyers who were willing to be on standby to represent people who've been swept up in the ice raids. I saw that email at about 8:45 when I was on my way to court. And I decided, well, I'll do my court thing and I'll come back and I'll volunteer. It's only be a couple of hours. They can't get that many lawyers to sign up to work for free in less than 2 hours. When I got back to my office around 10:30, I sent an email to the coordinator and said, hey, my name's Ken Diesenhof. I'm an immigration lawyer. I've been doing this for 30 years. I also do criminal law. Be more than happy to help. Got an email back from the person saying, thank you very much, counsel, but all of our slots are full. They had over 500 lawyers respond between 8:45 and 10:30 to say, I want to help volunteer. I want to shut this down right now. That gives me hope that people are standing up and saying, not on my watch. Yeah, it's bad. It's horrible. But I'm going to stand up and say something. And that gives me a little hope that, yes, we've got these extremists who are being normalized. We've got a kleptocracy. I think it's a great word, Colonel R squared. Well, I totally agree with that. But there are people who are saying, no, not on my watch. There was this wonderful banner that was on Facebook a while back that said, first they came from the immigrants. And of course I said something because I read the rest of the poem. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, there's a very famous poem by a German pastor from World War II. We'll get into another time. But that's the thing. The fact is, we are having people stand up and saying, this isn't right. And we're not going to tolerate it. And that gives me a little hope because, there's a great line from the show called The West Wing. I don't know if you guys remember that show. And
that was a big show.
Played by Martin Sheen goes to his new staff hire. The new staff hire. He goes, never underestimate the power of a small group of dedicated people and their will to change things. And he goes, you know why? And the character goes, yes, because that's the only thing that ever does. So, to all the people who are frustrated and angry, especially to people of the younger generation, the millennials, the Generation Z, the Zennials, hey, things are bad. Yes, they're bad. But you want to change them? Let me quote my grandfather, Morty Willig. Don't get angry, get organized.
Nice. Good stuff. Let me get into my outro banners here so we can close out the show. Those are the hats, the beanies that everyone had got and supported the show. I've got shirts here that I have yet to get my button gear. These are the shows I produce. Oscar Mike Radio coming up on show 500, episode 500. Drafting the Circuits is on Wednesday night. Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor on Wednesday night. Matty C Sports. Bet buses have been extended for another month for free service, so make sure to get your service ride in for free. Upcoming events, July 18th, I'll be DJing at Mom's in Foxborough, the showcase and ride out with slingshots. Also, the Boston Brothers ride takes place July 25th. That's going to leave from Brockton High and go to Taunton. Make sure to scan that code. And then my ride, Slingshot for Shriners, is August 1st. We leave from Brockton Westgate Mall. It's a sight to see. That's August 1st. Slingshots to the Summit takes place August 8th into the 9th. If you have a slingshot and you want to head up, make sure to reach out to Ron Drago. The Broken Chains bike show, car show on August 22nd has been canceled. So please spread the word. Canceled. They actually sent me that. The 10th annual Savannah Strong Memorial Ride Sling Fest in Indianapolis. That takes place August 27th to the 29th. The Manning Pool is open. Raining today, so it wasn't open today, but that's public swim 7 days a week, 1 to 5, $4 entry. The Downtown Brockton Arts has the Arts and Music Festival. That takes place Saturday, September 12th, 1 to 7. And then the Boston Pizza Festival is September 19th to the 20th, 11 to 6. Every pizza place around is going to be at Boston City Hall Plaza. Brockton Arts Paint Night, 7 to 9, every last Saturday of the month at the Enzo Flats Galleria on 50 Center Street in Brockton. And again, if you've got an event here in Brockton, get it to me. Don't waste any time. Get it to me so I can get it posted so people know what's going on. I hate when people are posting a post on Brockton Hub and all these different sites and saying, I didn't know this and I didn't know that. I'm starting to tag these people and say, hey, if you was tuned into the booth on Tuesday, you'd know about it. So that's about it. We got to get ready to get out of here. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to my dad who's in the chat for tuning into the show. I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to let Ken Diesel say his answer. And what do you got to say as we head out of here, man?
Want to thank all of our listeners and viewers, all 12 of you. Thank you, Mr. Hayes, for tuning in. It's appreciated that someone who's even older than we are is listening to this show. Makes me feel young at heart. To all of our friends and family, enjoy the summer. Be safe. Stay cool. We'll see you next month.
Squid?
Yeah, I think I'll leave it at what I already said. Just congrats to Travis Partington. 500 shows. That's amazing. Keep it up, man.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And again, as you guys know, my dad's in the chat, and people always ask, why do I have such an eclectic playlist on my iTunes and why I DJ with some of the craziest songs and mashups? It's because of my dad. And just to give you a heads up, my dad, growing up, we lived in the projects in Boston. We lived in Mission Hill, Boston. I was a black kid growing up in Mission Hill, Boston. But my dad, when it came to music, my dad, William Hayes, opened my ears up to music that I would never thought I would listen to. I was a black kid in the projects. It had every one of Kiss's solo albums, Kiss Alive Destroyer. My dad made sure we went to see Arthur Fiedler. Every year, my dad made sure we were at the Boston Pops on the Charles River because my dad wanted me to listen to Arthur Fiedler and the Pops. My dad let me listen to Chuck Mangione. My dad let me listen to, there was a trumpet player, Spanish, Herb Albert. My dad had me listening to all types of music. The Last Poets, which was early rap. My dad turned me on to that type of music. And that's the type of stuff my dad brought into my life, being eclectic. So I thank you. I thank my dad for all of that stuff. And values, good values. My dad taught me good values too, so. Great stuff. I want to thank my dad for being here in the chat. He just turned 80 in May, so thank you, Dad, for coming in the chat. Good stuff. And I think that's it, guys. We'll be back here. Wow, August, guys. I don't know what to say. August. But thank you guys for tuning in. SpongeBob, do me a favor. Take us home.
See you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinister One production hosted by Sinister One.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine, but your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I make it, keep this shit on repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, and y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak assholes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, it's like I'm my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's Whoobazoo.com.
Enter website, enter website, enter website, enter website.